Imagine soaring through the sky, attempting a feat no woman had ever achieved, only to vanish into thin air. No distress call, no wreckage, just an eerie, profound silence. What if I told you the official story of Amelia Earhart's disappearance might be a carefully constructed smokescreen, hiding a truth far stranger and more unsettling than mere navigational error? Because on July 1937, Amelia Earhart, America's beloved aviation pioneer, and her navigator Fred Noonan attempted to circumnavigate the globe. They were on the final, most treacherous leg of their journey, searching for tiny Howland Island in the vast expanse of the Pacific. And then, they were simply gone. But what really happened? The truth might be more shocking than we've been led to believe. Let's peel back the layers of this enduring enigma. To understand the true depth of this mystery, we need to go back to that fateful flight. Amelia Earhart wasn't just any pilot. She was a symbol of strength and ambition, a woman breaking barriers in an era dominated by men. Her Lockheed Electra 10E, a state-of-the-art aircraft, was loaded with fuel for the long haul. Their destination, Howland Island, was a mere speck, 2 miles long and half a mile wide, in the middle of nowhere. Finding it required pinpoint navigation, and their primary navigation tool, a radio direction finder, was problematic. They were relying heavily on transmissions from the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Itasca, stationed off Howland Island. Communications were patchy, filled with static and confusion. Earhart's final reported radio transmissions were increasingly frantic, indicating low fuel and an inability to pinpoint their position. Then silence. The official narrative quickly solidified. They ran out of fuel, crashed into the Pacific, and sank. A tragic yet understandable end to an ambitious endeavor. But even at the time, that explanation felt too convenient, too neat for such a colossal disappearance. Because if it was that simple, why has the hunt for answers and for wreckage continued relentlessly for almost a century? But things took a darker turn when alternative theories began to emerge, each more compelling and disturbing than the last. The sheer lack of wreckage, despite one of the most extensive search and rescue operations of its time, immediately raised red flags. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions in today's money, were spent scouring vast stretches of ocean. Nothing. Not a single identifiable piece of the Electra 10E, nor any sign of Earhart or Noonan. How could a large aircraft simply vanish without a trace? This void of evidence allowed two primary, highly controversial theories to gain traction. The first, and perhaps most widely debated, is the Gardner Island theory. Proponents suggest that Earhart and Noonan, unable to find Howland, flew south, locating and landing on what was then called Gardner Island, now Nikumaroro, an uninhabited atoll in the Phoenix Islands. The theory holds that they survived, at least for a time, living as castaways before ultimately succumbing to the harsh environment. Evidence, bone fragments, a woman's shoe, and pieces of American-made artifacts consistent with a 1930s castaway camp were discovered on the island decades later. While the bones were initially misidentified as male, later forensic analysis using modern techniques suggested they were consistent with a female of Earhart's stature. Imagine the terror of being stranded, the hope fading with each passing day. But then there's the even more chilling Japanese capture theory. This suggests a far more sinister fate, that Earhart and Noonan were not just lost pilots, but covert operatives. Some believe they were on a spy mission, gathering intelligence on Japanese fortifications in the Pacific. According to this theory, they crashed or were forced down in the Marshall Islands, captured by the Japanese and held as prisoners. Local islanders in the Marshalls claim to have seen a Western woman and man, matching Earhart and Noonan's description, in Japanese custody. There were even alleged photographs of them on Saipan. If true, their disappearance wasn't a tragic accident, but an international incident, a cover-up of unprecedented scale. The U.S. government, eager to avoid war, might have buried the truth. Consider the implications. Was Amelia Earhart, America's aviation darling, sacrificed for geopolitical reasons? Or was she, a true survivor, simply trapped on an isolated island, her final moments a desperate struggle against nature? The mystery deepens when we consider the conflicting evidence, the eyewitness accounts, and the official silence. What they discovered next shifted the entire paradigm of the investigation. Decades after the disappearance, the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, or TIGAR, conducted numerous expeditions to Nikumaroro, the Gardner Island of old. Their findings were tantalizing. A partial skeleton, which forensic anthropologists later determined were consistent with a female of European ancestry, matching Earhart in height and build, fueling the castaway theory. They also found pieces of plexiglass, a zipper, and a jar of freckle cream, artifacts consistent with what Earhart might have carried. Imagine the chill of finding such personal items, silent witnesses to a tragic struggle for survival. Then in 2014, a metal fragment, the size of a license plate, was found on Nikumaroro. After extensive analysis, experts concluded it was nearly identical to a patch installed on Earhart's plane during a repair in Miami, just weeks before her final flight. This discovery was huge, providing the most concrete physical link to her aircraft found to date, strongly supporting the Gardner Island theory. But still, no definitive human remains identified as Earhart or Noonan. The Japanese capture theory, however, refused to be silenced. Bolstered by declassified documents, old maps, and a 1960s photograph allegedly showing Earhart and Noonan among a group of people on a dock in Saipan. Although highly debated and often debunked, the persistent claims of island residents and the tantalizing, though unverified photographs continue to haunt the narrative. The sheer weight of circumstantial evidence pointing in two different, equally plausible directions makes Earhart's case one of the most perplexing in history. The hope of finding her plane, perhaps even human remains, still drives search efforts today, almost a century later. Because if that metal fragment truly belongs to her plane, it means she made it. She landed. And what happened after that touchdown remains the ultimate question. To this day, we may never know the definitive truth of Amelia Earhart's fate. Was she a brave adventuress who met an unfortunate, yet natural end on a remote island? Or was her mission darker, her capture and demise a secret kept by powerful nations? The enduring mystery of Amelia Earhart's disappearance continues to captivate us, not just because of who she was, but because it represents the ultimate unknown, the final frontier of exploration and survival. It reminds us of the fragility of human endeavor against the vastness of the natural world, and the secrets the ocean still holds, waiting to be unearthed. Perhaps some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, forever fueling our imagination and reminding us that even in an age of advanced technology, some horizons remain stubbornly out of reach. If you want more mysteries like this, the next video explores the vanished crew of the Mary Celeste, a ghost ship discovered adrift with no one aboard. You won't want to miss it.